go. And now, judges, will you please introduce yourself?
How are y'all? It's good to see you today. I'm sorry you're having the weather. Just know that we can see you and hear you, and I appreciate you participating. My name's Rita McCannon. I am also from the South. I'm a lawyer in North Alabama in Huntsville.
Hey everybody, my name is Thomas Mackey. I'm in the history department at the University of Louisville and with the Brandeis School of Law here at the University of Louisville.
Hi, I'm Jay Barth. I'm the Chief Education Officer for the City of Little Rock and a retired politics professor from Hendrix College. And we're certainly very happy to see you and would love to hear your introductions.
My name's Colton Muszynski, and I'm just a student at Wilson Hall, senior.
My name's Caitlin Smith, and I'm also a senior at Wilson Hall.
My name is Caleb Porter, and I'm also a senior at Wilson Hall.
Say your high school for me again.
Wilson Hall.
And where is it? What town?
It's in Sumter, South Carolina.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious and nosy. That's why I asked all those questions. It is my job today to ask the question, so I'll make certain we're all on the same page. We're on Unit 3. We're going to be asking question 1. Glad to be with you today. Let's get started. Take a breath while I'm reading the question. It's going to be just great, okay? Question number 1, quoting Oliver Wendell Holmes. I do not think the United States would come to an end if we lost our power to declare an act of Congress void. I do think the Union would be imperiled if we couldn't make that declaration as to the laws of the several states. What impact has judicial review had on federalism? Is judicial review a counter-majoritarian practice? Support your position, please. What limits, if any, would you place on the practice of judicial review? And you may begin. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right, so judicial review is one of the defining factors of the judiciary branch as it came into practice after the case of Marbury versus Madison under the Chief Justice Marshall, who said it is emphatically the province and duty of the judicial department to say what the law is. And with federalism being the relationship between the state and federal government, judicial review allows the judiciary to interact with the state governments by giving their opinion about what certain laws are and whether they're constitutional or not. And this can be seen between Gideon versus Wainwright, Texas versus Johnson, Brown versus Board, where many of the states said some of their opinions, such as in Texas versus Johnson, where the state of Texas believed that it was illegal, they made it illegal to burn the flag. However, the Supreme Court gave their opinion. They said it is under a citizen of the United States rights to be able to express their opinion on the flag like that. So that's the how judicial review relates to federalism. And then a counter-majoritarian practice is when something goes against the will of the majority of the people. And that's exactly what the judiciary is about. It's not about doing what's best for the will of many, it's about what's doing the best for the Constitution. And that may go against the will of many people, such as in Brown versus Board of Education, which overturned Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but equal. The South had been deeply rooted in segregation, and it was the will of many to continue that. And Brown versus Board overturned that, and it was seen by many as unconstitutional for some people in the South, the Southern Democrats, but they did what they thought was best for the Constitution. And this can also be seen in Oberfield versus Hodge, which is a newly case, I think 2016, which made gay marriage legal. Many may have thought that it's against their rights or certain religious beliefs, but the judiciary did what was best for the Constitution and what they thought seemed fit in their interpretation of the Constitution. So
For the judicial review limits, I don't think we should put any limits on the judicial review because, I mean, it's worked for so many years and it keeps the legislative branch in check. Also, I think if we put limits on the judicial review, things like segregation could still be around. I think judicial review has been seen like in Brown versus Board, and it helped unsegregate schools.
That is all.
all we have.
Okay.
Right?
Let me jump in. What if I'm to argue that judicial review is a real problem? Because I thought here in the United States, political majorities set public policy. And I thought majorities, democratically elected, would set public policies. And yet you folks are very positive on this idea that the federal courts, but particularly the 9 people in robes in Washington, D.C., who are unelected and unaccountable, should somehow trump or overcome or stop the public policies of the states. Help me understand that friction a little bit more between the fear of majority tyranny and judicial review.
Well, I personally believe that public majority is more emotionally based, and it's not a profound, knowledgeable opinion or fact. Because the will of majority people, many people do, it's like herd mentality. Just because one person believes it and a group of people believe it, then other people are start catching on, and it's not a knowledgeable person that has been gone through the Senate confirmation committees and it's gone through all these. It's a process that these 9 people have been picked through a large process, and they've gone through all their lives and studied the Constitution. They have a more refined view on what should and what should not be constitutional.
Yeah, I think it's needed that we have a completely unbiased perspective whenever you're looking at the Constitution, rather than having just completely different morals from different parties.
Yeah, but aren't the 9 justices, the 9 scorpions in the bottle in the Supreme Court, aren't they selected through a political process? Aren't they, in that sense, then political actors? Help me understand that process or that friction a little more.
So it's supposed to be unbiased. They go through litmus tests and they go through the hearings and whatnot. And there's always going to be some part of you that's towards one political party or another. But I feel like they try to be as unbiased as possible to not jeopardize the way the court looks. Because the judiciary is supposed to be separate from the other 2 branches of the government. And it was made like that. The independent judiciary was made to be like that. And so I feel like it's the most unbiased as it can be. There certainly are some rulings where it's maybe towards one side more, like there's not many swing votes. A lot of people are, it's like a more politically based, but there's not much you can do against that, I feel.
And if you're asking to see if we like how we need to fix electing the Supreme Court judges, I feel like right now it's the best it can be, because if the whole nation was to elect it, I feel like it would be even more political than it already is.
What? So you at one point y'all said there should be no limits on judicial review. Obviously, the Supreme Court has said, there's certain things we're not going to do, certain topics, certain types of issues that we're not going to tackle. Do you think that the court has gotten it right in terms of when they step in and when they don't, or do you think they've made some mistakes in that arena?
Well, I feel like it depends on how you view like there's judicial activism where they go more into, they're like much more active with their interpretations. They view more cases and whatnot. But I would say that the majority of the cases that they have done, they follow stare decisis and they follow the previous ruling and the previous precedent that's been set. but they just might want to bring it to a bigger stage. I don't feel like they've ever abused their power too much in that case.
Define judicial activism.
It's like when they have a much more liberal way of viewing it. I don't want to say liberal, but like it's a newer way of like looking at it. They want to look at more cases and try to change the ruling maybe.
What, so I'll give an example. So many people criticized the Bush v. Gore decision in 2000 as the court really stepping into an inherently political, indeed electoral process, that's weaving into a lane that really wasn't theirs. Do you think that, or do you think that the court should really, as part of its power of judicial review, really have carte blanche, have total control over what cases it involves itself in and which ones it doesn't?
Trying to think.
Well, if they are told by someone which cases they can and cannot interpret, then I feel like that would almost be too powerful, because they're there to interpret the Constitution and they're there to decide what's constitutional, what's unconstitutional. And if they're told which certain cases they're not allowed to look at, that could be jeopardizing reason why they had the judiciary to determine what's supposed to be and what's supposed to not be in law.
Now you've said something that I can pick up on a little bit more, and I think this is kind of what you've been dancing around, and that's the issue of judicial independence. Is it a political branch or is it something else? Is judicial independence a good value, a bad value? And if so, or why not? Let me know. Take a position and defend it.
Okay. Well, I think it, hold on.
Do you think it's just another political branch like the presidency or the House or the Senate or the state houses? Or is there something unique about the judiciary, particularly the federal judiciary, and the importance of its independence from the more political branches?
I think it's definitely independent from the political branches, but it still has a political side, which I think is a flaw in it. And it's definitely important that it's independent, just because it is a check on the other branches. And without it, the other branches would just be too powerful. And we need that balance.
Let me ask you about another potential check, even though I've only got 30 seconds to ask the question. Do you think that instead of lifetime appointments, the Supreme Court justices ought to step down after a period, after 10 years or 20 years or 18 years?
I could probably, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think it shouldn't be a lifetime. I think it's always good to bring in fresh, new people with new ideas and, interpretations of what's constitutional and what's not constitutional.
I actually disagree with that, because I feel like the lifetime sentences allow them,
Go ahead, finish.
I'm sure that's how they feel sometimes.
I feel like the lifetime sentences allow them to be protected from the emotions and wills of the people, allows them to try to make the most unbiased decision as possible, because they're not looking to be elected again. They're already in session. They already can make their appoints. They're already appointed basically. So they can't be influenced by political parties and like special interest groups and stuff like other parties like that.
Rita, I think you're on.
Okay. I appreciate what you guys had to say. We don't have any more time. Is that right, Tom? I can't ask him another
Correct.
question.
Right.
Okay.
We're out of time.
I don't know what kind of weather you're having, but I appreciate you not freaking out on us and you being able to present no matter what. This is really hard material. It's advanced, what I think I heard in a movie one time, it's advanced citizenship. You are learning material that the grownups don't have an answer to. And as I heard Tom say this morning, you know, now we come to you and ask questions that we don't already know the answers to. We're just wanting to hear what you have to say. So if you think, oh my gosh, I didn't get that right. No, you thought about it. That's all any of us are trying to do is think about it. And you were brave enough to go ahead and say, we're going to get together and do this, even though, you know, we're having to watch out for weather today or whatever. But I appreciate you all being here and putting up with what all we had to put up with technologically to prepare and come in here and answer our questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I can second that. I thought you guys gave it a real good shot here, and you took a position and defended it. You used the information you had, and given the circumstance, I thought you did an okay to good job.
Yeah, I want to again echo all of that. You know, I think that when you don't have an immediate answer, and I think there were a couple of spots where you did not have an immediate answer, you know, I would urge you in a situation like this, not in life, because in life I think you need to grapple, but in a situation like this where you have a hearing or you're in a situation like this, do go ahead and take a clear stance and then argue for that more fully. And I thought you began to get there. I thought you did a great job, for instance, on the term limits question. I thought that was really the highlight where you really did have, you know, clarity. It was not agreement across the three of you, but there was clarity about what your position was. That's really what we want to see, is that kind of informed crispness. And I thought you did a nice job on that answer. And that should be really kind of the model of how to do this well across the variety of units.
Okay.
And good luck with everything.
Yeah.
We thank you. Thank you so much.
Right. Take a breath. It's okay.